Welcome back to Jack of All Games Tabletop. I'm Dave Wallace, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing an episode of 5 games, which if you're new to my channel, 5 games is something I usually do. Well, it's scheduled for next week, and I'll still do it, but usually that covers board games, and today I'm doing a separate one because this is my week. I usually talk about RPGs, which always ends up being about D&D, so I thought, why not talk about some games that are RPGs that are not D&D? So the way 5 games usually works is I just going to talk about 5 games from my collection. Usually when it comes to board games, it's about a different specific topic or a theme. I just pull out random games. They're not necessarily the best or the worst. They're not really in a particular order, but I just pull out those games to talk about if they match the theme. So the theme, this one of course, is just role-playing games in general, and I've got a lot of, especially a lot of older, some classic ones, and just thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different, talk about RPGs, but not necessarily about Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I actually started playing role-playing games in general in the early 80s when I was like 10, 11 years old, so we're talking around 82, 83 when I started, that old. While Dungeons and Dragons was prevalent back then and still is my favorite and most played game today, I actually wasn't allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons as a kid. I did, but I wasn't supposed to. I grew up in a very religious Christian home, in which those of you who may have heard the rumors, if you're a younger viewer and you didn't live through it, the Satanic Panic was a real thing. They actually believed that playing Dungeons and Dragons opened up portals to hell that caused kids to be possessed, and then of course they want to do drugs and kill themselves, and yeah, a lot of stupid stuff. So since a lot of these big churches and religious organizations believe this, they would have their, especially their active members, sign contracts saying you won't gonna let your kids play these games or listen to heavy metal music or basically all the things that I still love today. My parents signed a contract saying that I couldn't do that stuff. So yeah, I did. I just had to go spend the night at a friend's house. I had options that I was allowed to do, but Dungeons and Dragons at the time was just under a microscope for the dumbest of reasons. So I played other RPGs as well as D&D even way back then, and I have always played anti-heroes. I think just always been my favorite in movies and stories. Han Solo, Conan the Barbarian, Snake Plissken, Mad Max, all great anti-heroes, and it's kind of what I still love today. And the creativity behind role-playing games, kind of allowed me to do that. Probably why, when it comes to the games that I run when I'm a DM for Dungeons and Dragons, I pretty much scrap alignment. Nothing against it if that's the way you do like to play, but I have no use for alignment. I just kind of see it as good people do bad things, bad people do good things. We all have an arc, and we're all flawed creatures. So I just don't really use it. But yeah, nothing against those who do. But anyway, so I mean, like I said, that was just kind of the thing that always drew me in, was just the ability to do absolutely anything in a game and not necessarily stick to one track and have to do, point A and point B and these specific things. You could actually do absolutely anything. And being able to try out world building and creating these great entire worlds that I've been doing, like I said, since I was probably 11, 12 years old even. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that's always drawn me into RPGs. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So this is going to be 5 games, 5 role-playing games that are not Dungeons and Dragons. Like I said, no particular order, just I grabbed a few that look cool. Let's talk about it. Okay, number 5 is one that I have actually not played yet, but I really, really want to. One of these days I am going to set up at least a one-shot to get all my my D&D players in on. and that is Aliens, the role-playing game, or Alien in this case. This is a starter set. This one, well, it's Free League Publishing. This one comes out in 2020, is when it was first released. And you can get, of course, a nice hardback rule book that's much more detailed than what comes in the starter set. And I plan on getting that eventually here. I've been wanting to get it, but I have noticed that I believe next week coming to Kickstarter is going to be the Evolved edition of the Alien game. So I'm curious to see what's going to be in that. But yeah, I'm really stoked for this one. This is a D6 system. And actually, I'll show you it comes with sets of dice. These are, your standard action dice. And you're trying to roll 6s on it. 6s are your success. However, it also has stress dice, and one of the cool things, you can see it on there. Yeah, you can see that little face hugger on the 1. So yeah, that's kind of cool. If you roll a 1 on your stress dice, you start to go into panic. Pretty cool idea. Not a huge fan of D6 games, but definitely gonna give it a try. So when it comes to Alien in this case, you are basically, you're playing in that realm, of course, so you're looking at 160, 170 years into the future, in which major corporations have gone out into the universe, including Weyland-Yutani. And they've gone out to find new planets to not only colonize, but more specifically to mine. And of course, as major corporations are battling over materials that are out there. So of course that opens up for a lot of cool story, whether it be on a ship itself or whether it be on a planet. You can be in a rundown spaceship, derelict ship floating off in space that you have to try and get a hold of, or maybe it's going to be on some sort of foggy, muggy, warm planet that perfect environment for growing alien eggs. Obviously, in this, most of the characters you're going to be playing are going to be humans, but you have a lot of cool classes, different jobs that you can play. You can be, of course, like a space trucker. You can be a medic. You can be an agent, colonist. You can be a scientist, and you can be a colonial marine. So yeah, that's pretty rad. And then one of the cool things that I like about this, I don't know if this is in the main game or if it's just really in this starter box. Maybe it's just a book edition, but this one comes with these cards that are personal agendas. And one of the cool things, there's a lot of different agendas you can take. Some of them could be, whether you're just trying to steal money from people out there. One agenda could be just making sure you get everyone alive or get them from one ship to another. And of course, in Aliens fashion, one of the agendas could be to bring back a specimen. But this one in particular is a secret agenda in which you decide whether or not you want to reveal that you don't bleed red, you bleed white. You could be an android, and decide when you want to tell people, if you want to tell them. So that's a pretty neat little side piece there. You have different skills like close quarter combat, comtech, and even moving heavy machinery. So you can pick up a loader and use it to fight the queen, as usual. A lot of great scenarios that you can do with this game. And like I said, I'm looking forward to checking out this Evolved edition that's coming out. But yeah, this is one I definitely want to run for my friends soon. I would love to set up some kind of cool lighting setup where it kind of feels like that derelict ship, maybe get some lights that kind of twitch every now and then. I think that would be really, really fun. But yeah, anyway, that's number 5 on here. And by the way, this is the rule book that comes with it, which, I mean, it's a decent rule book as it is. It's a little over 100 pages. So yeah, I mean, get you started definitely. So yeah, check out Alien, the role-playing game. For number 4, I have another beginner box. If you are into RPGs, I am sure you've heard of this one. It's Shadowrun. Yeah, this is the 6th World Beginner box. Now, Shadowrun has been around since 1989. This one is by Catalyst Game Labs. I think it was originally released, let me double check here, I believe by FASA in 1989. I actually used to have a couple friends that worked at FASA. We actually played on an airsoft team together. And oddly enough, we didn't really talk much about their games. Maybe, I don't know, just didn't want to bring work home. I don't remember. But it's been a while. But anyway, yeah, so Shadowrun's been around for a while. And if you're not familiar with it, Shadowrun is more cyberpunk. It's got the sci-fi element. It has the lot of species that you're familiar with as far as fantasy games. So it's got like elves and dwarves and trolls, orcs, whatever, that sort of thing. But yeah, again, with the cyberpunk edge, this is a game where you're going to be doing special jobs that are going to require probably some hacking skills, that sort of thing. You're going to be trying to steal more digital information, but yeah, you've got all great weapons and that sort of thing. I had never played Shadowrun until 2022 at Gen Con. It was the first time that I actually got a chance to play it, and I had fun playing it. I will say I'm just not a big fan of that D6 system, especially when it comes to just I believe in Shadowrun fives and six are hits, but just a handful of dice and you're hunting. Just give me a D20. Let me just roll one die and see if I hit or not. That's my preference. Everybody's got their own preferences. That wouldn't stop me from playing it again, though. Shadowrun's definitely a cool game. So yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of really cool scenarios you can run with this one. All starter boxes come with one that you can do right off the bat, and this one has, of course, some pre-made characters. And just to show you, I mean, this is actually really nice. This Dwarf Decker is, which is he's basically like a hacker. And I mean, this is a whole little booklet, not only with the stats on them, but just a lot of background information to really help you get into the character. So, I mean, if you're not a creative person and you wanted to play, just give me a great character that I can kind of get into that's already ready to go. This is a great way to do it. So yeah, this, I believe there's probably 4 different characters that are pre-rolled, pre-created. So yeah, Shadowrun, definitely a cool game. Like I said, if you're into the D6 thing, I'd still play it. Not a big D6 guy, but I'd still play it. So yeah, it's fun. All right, number 3 is getting a chance to play in a sandbox that I am very, very familiar with. Of course, it's going to be a Star Wars role-playing game. Star Wars has gone through there's been several different games of Star Wars role-playing game. This one was 2000, was originally when it came out with Wizards of the Coast. However, the first one was, I believe, like 1987 with West End Games. That one was a D6 system. But then, this one came up with Wizards of the Coast. Like I said, 2000. This particular book is 2002. It's the revised edition, and of course, a lot of great races, and it's a D20 system. So yeah, it's a little bit more familiar if you're used to playing games like D&D. Wizards of the Coast only maintained the IP on this until like 2010, and then they decided to let it go. Maybe it wasn't doing so well, but in 2011, Fantasy Flight picked it up, and I believe they're still running it today. So I have not actually checked out Fantasy Flight's version of it yet, but it looks like it's fairly extensive, so I'm interested in that. This one, I got this, probably, I was playing it about 17 years ago. Had a few friends that I was actually the GM for that game, and I found in this some of the different character sheets and a few other pieces of paper from the last game that I played with those guys. In this, of course, you can be a Force adept, but you can also just be more scoundrel type. You can be a Fringer. You can be like part of a royal family. You can a lot of different avenues that you can take, and a lot of different Star Wars races or species that you can play in this too. I thought that this was a really cool game. The last time that I played it, I found like some of the old character sheets that I still had in here that were filled out. Looks like there was a Force adept Keldor. and a Zabrak, who was a tech specialist. But yeah, one of the last times we played this, and I'd forgotten about this till I started digging through this, was I had sent my players into a little tavern. You know, you can see this here, but this was just kind of the basic layout for them to find their way into. We had some sabacc tables, we had stage for the dancers, dining tables, stage for the band, and mini blob races. So that was kind of fun, but of course they had to find their way through to kind of a secret door where I believe we had a TPK because I put them up against a armor-plated Rancor. So I might have gone a little overboard on that. Sorry guys, I know it's been 17 years and you're still probably butthurt about it, but anyway, yeah, Star Wars, anything Star Wars is fun to play, and like I said, I would definitely love to check out the new one. I would play any Star Wars role-playing game anytime pretty much, so yeah, there you go. All right, for number 2, it is another one that has an IP that's changed hands many times over the years. It is Conan, the role-playing game. Now the original one, I played the first one, came out in 1984 by TSR, who was the creators of Dungeons and Dragons. And that game, that Conan version, it was a D10s is what it used, much like the next game I'm going to show you, which will be the last one of this video. But anyway, so yeah, you used D10s to roll percentages. And it actually had a really cool point system for your abilities. Rather than rolling your dice, they gave you 35 points to start with, and you had to just assign them as you wanted. So I thought that was kind of a clever way to do it. But anyway, so this one, this is by Mongoose Publishing. This one was 2003. This came out in 2003. Sorry, a lot of notes, trying to keep track of all this stuff here. But yeah, this is fairly similar to D&D as far as, you know, the D20 system. It even has your standard abilities as far as you know, your strength, your dexterity, your constitution, wisdom, intelligence, charisma is all in here. This all takes place in Robert Howard's version of the realm. So there's all the races that he kind of focused on are in this book. And like I said, similar play. There is, you know, of course, magic. There are some sorcerers and wizards and that sort of thing. But primarily, I think this one focuses more on melee combat than D&D does. It really get into it, which, you know, makes sense. I mean, this story is all about, you know, swords battling each other. So it makes sense that they would kind of focus more on that. One of the things that I've loved about Robert E. Howard's stories in the movies, the books, and this game is the savagery behind it. It is a very savage world. So as a result, there is more adult content, more stuff that you probably wouldn't want your kids to necessarily check out. And some people would find a lot of problems with it in this kind of time that we're in, with a lot of PC and a lot of wokeness and, you know, whatever it is. A lot of people are highly sensitive to things. Some are not a big deal, I don't think, but, you know, there's an occasional nipple here or there in some of the art in this book. But one of the things that I came across, which I thought, well, you know, there's certainly going to be some people out there that would have a problem with this, and it is, come on, there it is. All right, I'll put up a better picture of it, but I came across this picture where this dude over here is selling some slaves. And of course, there is a darker skinned slave over here. Of course, there's a light skinned one back there and being sold by dark skinned one. But nowadays, I assume a lot of people would have problems with this. And I actually appreciate that this is put in here, because in my D&D game that when I'm the DM and it's all in my homebrewed world, I want compelling story. That's an important issue to me. And because I want compelling story, I've made it very clear that anybody's welcome at my table. If you're a cool person, you just like to have fun with this game, that's all I care about, or D&D, whatever game I'm playing. I don't care about your skin color, I don't care about your sex, I don't care about your preferences. But in my world, it is not a safe space because you need to have a good reason, you need justification to do all this killing. This game actually wanted, like I said, really focuses on melee combat. One of the special actions you can learn is a decapitation swing. Okay, I think that kind of violence needs to have some justification. What's going to make you feel good about chopping the head off somebody? Well, if he's a slaver, that might make you feel pretty good about it, right? You can feel justified. I've said this before. If you had to face the actual cartoonish version of Skeletor, not going to feel great about killing him because he's just evil for being evil, and his silly laugh. Whereas if you had to kill Adolf Hitler, you might not feel so bad about it. So when they put dark elements like that into these stories, I actually appreciate it. Not everybody will, and that's why I'm trying to give you this little bit of warning here. But I do believe there's been several other versions, I believe, Conan, since this might even be more on the horizon. So yeah, anyway, this one, like I said, this is the 2003 version, and it's dark, but it's definitely cool. So there you go. I always say these games are not in any particular order on this 5-game show. However, the last one is one of my favorites. I still say D&D is my favorite, but on this list, this was my first love. This is one that I was allowed to play because it's sci-fi and there's no demons in space, right? Anyway, it is Star Frontiers. I still love this game. I was fascinated with this game as a kid. I drew pictures of these kind of different characters that come in this game, especially this dude on the cover here. It looks like he's an ape right there. I believe this is some Larry Elmore. Yeah, that's a Larry Elmore painting. But yeah, this kind of ape-like guy is a Yerzerian. That was the race that I was obsessed with playing all the time as a kid. So Star Frontiers, obviously it's sci-fi. This game was a D10 system, which I actually still have. I've got the original dice and the crayon that you had to color, rub it over there to get the crayon into the cracks so you can see the numbers on the die. This is not my original one. I bought this on eBay. I'm of course hunting other ones, trying to get hold of some of the old stuff. So this game was really cool when I was a kid, just obsessed with the ideas behind it. Basically, most of the time in this game, you're working for a large corporation. Specifically, when you start off with like the starter box, it's the Pan-Galactic Corporation, sends you off on the different missions. This, of course, comes with a different starter mission. The dice that you roll is percentile. You're basically rolling 2 of them most of the time in order to see the percentage chance that you're going to succeed on your different actions. I did get an expansion that I always found fascinating when I was a kid too, and that is Zebulon's Guide to Outer Space. Well, it's a bit dusty, isn't it? Zebulon's Guide to Frontier Space, sorry. As soon as I saw that painting on there, of course I had to have that. And this was basically an expansion as far as it had some new races involved and different like weapons and, like I said, more corporations. I was really fascinated with the grasshopper landmine in this thing, which is just a landmine that would jump up off the ground and explode in your face kind of thing. Yeah, no, that's not it. But yeah, there's that, the grasshopper delivery system. It was just fun stuff. Of course, you had different races that were the enemies. I believe it was the Salazar. I can't remember. You kind of had these different alien races that you had to fight against. There was also a separate system that you could get, was the Nighthawks, which actually had more to do with spaceship combat. A lot of cool stuff in this game, for me anyway. Probably a lot of it is attached to nostalgia, of course. This game ran for a little while. This is TSR, same company that started Dungeons & Dragons and the first Conan game, which, by the way, if you can find that for a deal on eBay, the Conan one, the first one, let me know. Anyway, there was, I think, 3 years or so. It came out in 1982. This original box here was from 1982. And I think it ran for like about 3 years before it got dropped. There was some weird issues with it as far as Wizards of the Coast picked up everything from TSR. They didn't really do anything. I think they tried to do a little bit. They were going to try and release a new version of Star Frontiers, and they ended up not really doing that. Then there was a new version of TSR who tried to bring it back. There was some controversy, supposedly some racism, or I don't know, some kind of phobias that people complained about. Then, yeah, there was a legal battle. It was a big mess. I don't know. But there are people who are still trying to keep this alive. There is a Facebook group that's trying to keep Star Frontiers going. I believe it's just called Star Frontiers. Maybe it's Here to Stay or something like that. There's a group. Check them out. So yeah, hopefully I'd love to see this one come back. I'd really love to see whether it's Wizards or somebody just make a new version of this. Yeah, it's trying to get all the different stuff out there on eBay still today. Like I said, for me, it was a lot of fun. There was only 4 races in the game. The starter, humans, the Dralicites were like blob-like people. The Vrusks were like insect kind of people, and then, like I said, the Azerians. The Azerians looked like apes, but they had this webbing, this flesh that went from their arm to their legs so that they could actually glide. And they had battle rage, and there was a lot of cool stuff in there. So yeah. All right, so that's what I got for today. It's just 5 RPGs that I wanted to talk about. I've got others, but not enough. There's tons of RPGs out there. And so I'd really like to know what your favorite RPG is and why you like it. Is there something about it that separates it from your standard D&D and other Shadowrun or whatever games are the most popular? Give me some cool things to check out because for me, role-playing rule books, that's just fun reading. Even if I'm not playing it, I just take these in my backpack to work and get a little free time and just read interesting stuff. So if you got any RPGs out there that you'd like to recommend to me, I definitely want to hear about it. Let me know in the comments. And that's going to be it for now. I'll probably be doing another 5 games next week, but it'll be board games back to normal. So until then, get out there and roll some dice. Thank you once again for watching Jack of All Games Tabletop. I really appreciate the support, and if you wouldn't mind, maybe give it a little thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Of course, I love reading your comments, and with any questions, suggestions, or corrections, feel free to leave them in the comments. Or, of course, you can always get a hold of me at jackofallgamespt@gmail.com. And if you're a game designer and you want to talk about your game on the show, I'd love to hear from you, so drop me a message. And now, I will persuade you to hit the like button with a persuasion roll. Well, turns out I have advantage on persuasion rolls. Yeah. I believe I have 1 point of inspiration left. So, yeah. Hey, check out my hot wife. Yeah, she's always distracting me. Aha, and as you can see, I have rolled a natural 20. Therefore, you are persuaded to hit the like button. And now, thanks to my power of persuasion, I know that I will see you next week.